Has it been proven to be effective to incorporate exercise in the schools? Why kids would take time out of a day for exercise? They might think it's a waste of time.
We have so many studies, an avalanche of studies, showing that exercise improves test scores in the schools. If you add more exercise into the school day, the test scores of everybody goes up. Plus, discipline problems, bullying goes down. So the fastest way to change a school system is to inject exercise into it. When you have kids moving, they're going to be less moody, less depressed, more positive and more cooperative, as well as more motivated to do more.
Taking time away from actual book learning, and then some things that it's just sports and they aren't sporty, or they think it's going to make them more tired when actually it will energize them.
What keeps them from doing exercise?
Yeah, the big question over both in the U.S. and in Korea is what keeps kids from wanting to participate in exercise. Well, less so in the U.S., but certainly in certainly pockets of the U.S. as well as in Korea, you have kids feeling like this is going to take away from my seat time, my study time, and I don't want to give it over to exercise. As well, parents are feeling that this will tire the kids out, that just running and moving around will make them have less energy for the studying. When in actual fact, that's not the way it happens. When you exercise, you generate more energy, and you generate more enthusiasm, and you generate more motivation to pursue a line of study or investigation. You know, we have these myths that follow all of us. There's a huge connection between exercise and the brain. Our brains evolved to help us be better movers. Through evolution, we added more brain cells that are specific to help us move better, to help us be more precise in our movements, to be more directed, to be more planful. We evolved this over a long period of time and made our brains big as they are now. And this big brain, then as we got more involved with more people in our group, we use those same cells to think with, to speak with, to understand with. And so we know that our thinking brain is really our moving brain and vice versa. So that when we move, we activate our thinking brain as well as our moving brain. So much of the brain evolved to help us be the best movers that we could be. And so when we move, we are using more brain cells than in any other human activity. And what's important is when we use more cells, we make them stronger, we make them tougher. The brain is like a muscle. The more we use it, the better it gets. You don't wear it out, it doesn't get too tired. If it does, it gets into recovery. And we want to use our brains as much as possible. So this is why we spend so much time talking about the use of exercise for our kids. Play to begin with, to get the kids interactive, to have fun, to enjoy, to experience joy, and throughout life to use the body to stimulate the brain. And so this is why it's so important to repurpose exercise in the schools. Most parents think, oh no, it's a waste of time, or it's only for athletes, especially in the United States, that's what parents will say. Probably in Asia, it's about, oh, you're going to take time away from the studying. Well, we have all kinds of data showing that the more you spend time exercising, the more you prepare the brain to learn. I say that someone who exercises is making preparation to be a better learner. It makes turns on the frontal cortex, sparks the frontal cortex, turns it on, and when that happens, your attention is more focused. You stay with things longer. You can retain the interest and the focus on a subject so that you can complete it rather than just dribble off and not complete your thought or complete the understanding. Exercise improves working memory so that we can retain things, we can have multiple issues in mind at the same time when we exercise. As well, we know that when we exercise, we liberate all kinds of wonderful neurotransmitters, neurohormones, growth factors. The one in particular, the queen bee of the brain, is called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is an amazing little substance because it acts like brain fertilizer. And what does that mean? That means it helps our brain cells grow and prosper. And this is so important for learning and memory because that's the only way we learn anything. And you make a memory by growing the brain cells. Nothing prepares the brain cells to grow more than exercise because we liberate all this BDNF, all this fertilizer around us, plus a host of other brain factors to bring our brain cells, our 100 billion brain cells that we have, to be richly ready to grow. It's called neuroplasticity. And that means our brain cells can grow, they can change, and we want them to, and especially if we're trying to learn something.
Beyond scholastic achievement, there are the additional benefits of behavior, mood, motivation, helps with anxiety, depression, ADD, you get a happier, more adjusted social child.
Along with the effect on cognition, on attention, on memory, exercise does wonderful things for mood regulation, for motivation, for anxiety, for stress, because changing the brain chemistry and the action in the brain is really important to help us manage mood and focus, as well as help us deal with stress. We know that when we exercise, we produce all these changes in our brain that help us deal with stress. In fact, it helps us not be so stressed. It's one of the ways we've found and see that exercise helps people not to be so aggressive, because it puts the brakes on the impulses to be aggressive, to fight, or to bully. It's one of the things that we know helps bullying, that we can, if we get exercise in the school system, we'll see less bullying going on. And that's one thing that when I talked with the Minister of Education in Korea, that's what we talked about, using exercise to help with their bullying crisis that you have in Korea, because it works. It works. And it works because you change the chemistry. As well, one of the chemicals that it causes an uptick or an increase in is something called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is known as the love hormone, the bonding hormone. So what does this mean? That when you exercise, you're feeling like you want to relate to someone, you want to connect, and you also exude this feeling, this aura, that they want to bond with you because you're more attractive, you're more connectable, so that kids that are the lone wolf type if they would exercise, they would be much more liable to be connected and to be part of the group rather than off in their own little world with their VR, with their